George was still crying, so Dr. Morcassius and I got close to him. It is okay, George, I said. We have the cure. We have the cure. Once we trap it into her, she will be saved, said Dr. Morcassius. Will that mean that I won't have to worry about what I did anymore? I asked. Yes, Dr. Morcassius answered. I'm sorry that you had to deal with all this, said George. George, it isn't your fault, I said. If it's really someone's fault, it is your mother's, because she decided to have more kids after Sam, said Dr. Morcassius. I don't really think that's encouraging, I said. You were right, sorry, said Dr. Morcassius. I still get to be the one to trap the needle into her arm, right? George asked. Yes, said Dr. Morcassius. George then went back to crying. Why are you crying now? I asked. A man is dead because of me, answered George. What? I asked. The look on Dr. Morcassius' face was pretty much the same as mine, but I was confused by why he was saying that. The return killed Dr. Jacobs. I said. That does not mean it at all it is your fault, said Dr. Morcassius. Yeah. Yes, it is, because if it weren't for me breaking Mommy's back, you wouldn't have gone after the return, which means that you wouldn't have started this, said George. Dr. Morcassius inside. George, I was thinking before Dr. Morcassius stopped me. Let go, said Dr. Morcassius. Fine, I said. Just then, the press entered our car. We were then bombarded with questions like, how loud was the shock? Were you suspecting anything? And are you feeling this before? Unfortunately, due to George's sensory issues for his autism, it was too much for him and he began screaming. Hannah, get him out of here, Dr. Morcassius yelled. Sure thing, I said. I then took George out of the train car. Where are you going to take me? George asked. Just behind these doors, where we are in office, because where it is quieter. We then entered the office building. Much better, said George. I agree, I said. We then sat on some chairs. Mommy is going to be fine. I know, said George. Do not worry about it. When are we going to leave Detroit? Once this press conference is over. How long will that be? I don't know. Okay, hopefully not too long. It wasn't very long before Dr. Morcassius and Sam left the train and came into this office building. We were free to go, said Dr. Morcassius. Good, I said. We then rode the elevator down to the ground, and we were on the ground of the Times Square Peoplemover station. Which way is it to Greektown on foot, since we need to get there to pick up the motorcycles to head back to Robbinsog? I asked Sam. In Chicago, I added. Sam then looked it up on his phone and pointed and began leaning away. What time is it? I asked. 9 Detroit time, which means it is 8 Chicago time. Chicago and Robbinsog time, which means we should be back in our area by 1 in the afternoon or time, answered Dr. Morcassius, looking at his watch. Wow, we have already accomplished a lot today, said George. And I promise, we will inject Mom with this cure as soon as we get back to Robbinsog, said Dr. Morcassius. We? George asked. Yes, Dr. Morcassius answered. Oh, you, Dr. Morcassius corrected. Exactly, said George. And then we are going to turn ourselves into the return, over to the police, so that we can end this war between Robbinsog and the United States, said Hannah. Yep, said Dr. Morcassius. Does that mean we are going to go to jail? George asked. We shall see, said Dr. Morcassius. But I want to be with Mommy once she is saved, said George. Well, we are saving her, and if we don't see her again after that, then we should just be happy she is alive, said Dr. Morcassius. That made George cry, and he cried the rest of the way back to the Greektown Hotel and Casino, but Dr. Morcassius was right about what he was saying to George. When we arrived at the Greektown Hotel and Casino, I went up to the desk to check into the valet to get our motorcycles, because the valet reservation was booked under my name. Hi, I'm here to pick up 2 Harley Davidsons with attached capsules. Name is Gregory, I said to the valet man. I'm sorry, we don't have that, said the valet man. Yeah you do, I said. By now I could see Dr. Morcassius was getting, and his brothers were getting worried. No, we don't, said the valet man. Why? I asked. In general, after someone asks why, the answer is usually because you are confused. This is not in general. Because we know you are crooks from Chicago, and we are going to arrest you, said the valet man. Just then, police officers popped out anywhere. It is not Chicago. It is Robbinsog, said Dr. Morcassius. Screamed Sam. Sam then lunged into the air and began taking cops down with his bare hands, and people opened fire on him. Get down! Screamed Dr. Morcassius. Dr. Morcassius then moved, and George and I to the ground. About 2 seconds after that, Sam threw a tear gas bomb, and then he came running toward us and then dragged us out of the cloud of tear gas. He wanted us to begin to follow him as we began running away from the Greektown Hotel and Casino, and eventually we ended up at a Peoplemover station known as Grand Circus Park. What are you doing here? I asked. Sam then brought out his cane. Oh, I know what you have in mind, I said. Sam then stuck out the cane. Sam then stuck the cane in the pockets, which I sewed into his cloak. Do not forget, you have our weapons, said Dr. Morcassius. Sam winked. Dr. Morcassius stuck his cane in the briefcase out of the detachable handle, and he stuck it on his cane. So we are going to hang glide to Robbinsog? George asked. Maybe not all the way, but at least to the Chicago area, said Dr. Morcassius. Sam then walked over to George and pointed at George's eyes, and then pointed back himself. You want me to keep your eyes on you? George asked. Sam nodded. I will, said George. Just then, Grand Circus platform was raided by police officers. Freeze! Yelled one of the police officers. Sam then brought out the gun he stole from the Chicago Police Department. What for? Asked one of the cops. Looks like he was the guy who also stole one of the Chicago SWAT team's guns. Get him, said one of the cops. Sam I saw then switched the mode, and then he fired 3 times into the crowd of officers. As that was happening, a train was pulling into Grand Circus Park because only one train was shut down. And I saw Sam jump on top of it, and then he hesitated for a moment, but then he began gliding west, which was impressive for somebody who was afraid of flying. Dr. Morcassius, Sam, and I soon all followed, and we knew it wasn't going to be fun getting back to Robbinsog in the Chicago area.